Today we're going to be talking about a surprising thing that can turn your pre-approval to a denial. No one ever thinks about this, and as it is March, now is the time to be talking about it. So, if you're new to the channel, I am a mortgage lender licensed in 48 states. Hit me up, text me, get on the calendar, type in comments. I am here to help. Okay, so what am I talking about? Taxes. I'm talking about taxes. I see this every year. So, after I fully underwrite someone, we do that during our pre-approval process, I'm always having the conversation of like, hey, if you file your tax returns, you need to tell me. And especially with self-employed buyers, it's really tricky, or if someone has a lot of rental properties. So if you haven't filed your 2023 taxes, let's say a lender pre-approved you, October, November, December, January, February, whatever. The minute you file new tax returns, you need to get them to them and say, hey, I've got new tax returns, so I know you need to redo my income, because we do have to redo your income. That's the thing. So if you are self-employed, I'm gonna have to redo your income. I'm happy to do it. My fear is always like, and I think this happened to me maybe 10 years ago. It's been a while. And we had a buyer who we had pre-approved and everything was great. They finally find a house and they filed their tax returns in the middle of it. They were self-employed. Their business showed a loss. Game over. Game over. They didn't qualify anymore. The business went from making this to this, and that killed the debt to income. So if you're self-employed and you file your tax returns, you need to tell your lender and get your pre-approval updated. And if you're really concerned about it, you want to make sure you're talking to your lender. But the bottom line is you want to make sure you're qualified off your most recent income. Now, if you file an extension, okay, that's fine. I can use an extension and what I already have, but if you owe taxes, we have to show that they're paid. Very important, or that you're in a payment plan. But really, if you owe taxes, you want to pay them. Now, if you're like, well, Jen, I'm W-2. Okay, that's great. If you're W-2, but you suddenly have a business with huge losses, that can cause problems. So the key thing on any of this is gonna be, if there's a change, you need to tell the lender. And tax returns, March and April, that's when everyone starts filing. And I've had so many clients recently where they're like, oh my gosh, I never would have thought of that. And I'm like, yeah, so if you file them, please give them to me so I can redo your pre-approval. So really important there. The other thing on taxes is sometimes we'll have people that are like, they're self-employed and they're like, I made so much more in 2023. Can we please use that income? Only if they are filed and you have paid what you owe, okay? Because sometimes prior to that April 15th due date, they'll be like, oh, but the payment's not due yet. Doesn't matter. If you want me to use that income, I have to show that you've made that payment and I have to show those taxes are actually filed. It's a big deal. And people are like, well, how are they going to know if they're filed? We're ordering tax transcripts, right? We're ordering tax transcripts, I would say, on every single loan to verify stuff's been filed. And it's actually kind of interesting because I don't think I've ever had a client who's like intentionally, I don't think they're committing fraud, right? Because there's always the big rumor where, oh, someone had a client and they made up tax returns and then to get the loan and then they filed different tax returns, right? You always hear that. I haven't had a client do that, but I have had clients find out that the tax returns they thought that were filed never were, or the IRS didn't get them. So you really want to just be super aware of this. This is something that can affect your pre-approval. It's new data. So self-employed, self-employed buyers, come on. Or if you have a bunch of rental properties, that's another one where I can see a big shift, because if all of a sudden those numbers change and maybe you are pushing your debt to income, it can be a real problem. So please realize the minute you file those tax returns, your lender has to update your pre-approval, and they will find out. Because I know some people are going to be like, well, they don't have to know I filed. They find out, guys. They find out. So just own it now. Questions, comments? I just wanted to do a quick video on this. I'm hoping it will help some people. I know it will. But Yeah, thanks for watching.